All right, let's get situated here. Happy Monday. We are live with Coach
Mhm.
Spence. Look, we just come to talk and we hanging out this evening. Coach Spence, how you doing today? Happy Monday
Um,
to you.
Happy Monday to you too. I've had a good day. How about you?
Oh, it's been a busy one, but a good one. Busy one, but a
Mm.
good one.
Yeah, we are
Listen,
in March now.
we're in March. We
What's
we
the day?
just we're about to spring forward here in a bit.
You better know it.
We about
No
to spring
seed
forward here
planted.
in a minute.
You
We
better have
just
some seed
about to
in the
spring
ground.
forward. That's an
Yeah.
inside joke, y'all. But anyway,
Yeah.
I am excited to have Coach Spence on with me tonight. We just chopping it up tonight. Wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming event happening March 29th, Clarity Conversations Live. This is a um, vision strategy accelerator. Um, Coach Spence partnered with me for Pen to Paper 2025 this year, and it was an amazing event. And he came and lit the room on fire, ignited the room, the creativity, the visions of those in attendance. And as a matter of fact, people are still talking about it. And so I'm just excited to have him as a collaborator and a partner in this venture. And so we decided to continue this quest throughout the remainder of this year so that the vision strategy and the time and season and harvest time that Coach Spence talked about, that we can in real time, we can help people to walk this thing out. And so that's why I said it was an inside joke when I said we just about to spring forward, because we're getting ready to spring out. We're getting ready to spring forward into the next quarter, and we're coming out of this first quarter. So we're just going to chop it up tonight and talk a little bit about vision strategy. And so I want to kind of, Coach Spence, just kind of set the tone. Um, we're in a very pivotal time. There's a lot going on in our country. There's a lot going on in our communities. And I've been to say there's a lot going on in our individual spaces and homes. And so we got our personal life, we got businesses that we're working. And so for many of us that are visionaries and creatives, one of the things that I say in this season and time is you need a strategy. Um, you definitely need the word of God. That needs to be your foundation. But if you're a business owner or a leader in your home, period, first of all, you got to have a clear vision, and that comes with clarity. And so Habakkuk 2 and 2 lets us know that we got to be able to write a vision. We got to be able to make sure that vision is plain. It has to be written down, right? And it has to be written to the extent that somebody can take it and they can run with it. And so I often say, when we get clear about a thing, we get confident about it. And when we get confident about it, we can communicate better about it. And when we can communicate better about it, we can collaborate on it. And so it's important that in this season and time, you have a strategy. What's the strategy for your house? These are some questions we just gonna kind of, throw out, and we're gonna talk about it. What are strategies? What's your strategy for your business? Do you know where you are, where you're trying to go? How you gonna get there? What's your plan? And everybody's strategy may be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you need to have a plan in place. But plan for allow for the plan of God is what I always say. So I'm gonna toss it over to you. And what's your thoughts on that subject matter?
I concur with you so much, Bridget. It's so important that you and let me just preface this about believer and non-believer, right?
Right,
Either way
right.
it go, you still gonna need a plan. You're gonna need a
That's
strategy,
right.
right? But
Absolutely,
but but
absolutely.
those of us that are kingdom-minded people, it doesn't matter who's in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
Absolutely.
just it doesn't matter. So I think in terms of like when you say a plan and a strategy, you know, I being a visionary leader, I deal with 5 to 10 year plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 55 now. I'm working on the best version of Spence at 60,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
What does that look like? What boards do I want to sit on, right?
Right, right,
What is the plan in the house? Where do we want to be,
right.
at that stage? And then as we write the vision down, we make it plain, we go to work.
Yep.
So it don't matter who got in office, we still was working a plan.
There you go. There you go.
So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on that, Bridget.
Yeah, yeah, you still got to have a plan. Um, and that plan needs to be a plan that um, doesn't impact your peace,
No.
right?
Uh,
So your piece is still important. So there has to be some balance to what you got going on. And at the end of the day, that may mean, some decisions you got to make, and certain decisions that you make, how you make that decision, the action that you take determines is based on the strategy that you have. And so a lot of
mm-hmm.
times we make haphazard decisions because we don't what have a strategy. And so we're just trying to get through the moment. But when we take the time to have a strategy and we have a plan, it helps us to make those decisions with a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more ease. Even if we're not totally sure about what the outcome's going to be, we're confident about the decision that we're making, right? Because we've taken the time to establish where we are, where we're trying to go, and what's going to be our plan of action for getting there. Always allowing for the opportunity for a pivot because you never know what may happen. And so you have to always be ready to pivot, whatever that means. So during the pen to paper experience, we talked about some different kinds of things. One of the things we talked about was visualizing where you want to be. So when we talk about vision, of course, you got to see it's a big picture. So we get this,
Mm-hmm.
we get this inkling, we get this vision, we get this nudge or whatever it is, and it's something that we see that is the big picture of the end result we're trying to get to. Where it's just like anything else, when you leave your house, there's a path that you use to get to your final destination. Now, you may set out going a path that you travel all the time, but there may be some roadblocks. There may be some detours, and you may have to take a different route. It may take you a little bit longer, or it may be a shortcut. But at the end of the day, that vision of your destination never changes. That's always the end goal. However, you always need to have a multiplicity of opportunities on how you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
there because
Mm-hmm.
anything can occur at any time. And so oftentimes we're thrown off because we only have one course.
Yep. Yep.
We got one path that we're going to get from A to B. And if it's not A to B, we're thrown off. And so, I think that this first event after post pen to paper 2025 is to help to accelerate the strategies that definitely people that were part of the event came away with, but also for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to be a part, to join in and say, hey, let me just come be a part of this environment and let me just, let me have the conversation, in this environment so I can get a little bit clear about what my current path to my end result. What's my current path to my manifestation? And if, in fact, you don't have a variation of that, how can we help you to get a variation of that? That's number one. Number two, if you have a particular product that you're currently servicing or that you're currently selling or whatever the case may be, is that the only product that you have? Is that the only opportunity you have? Or are there any variations or versions of that service or product? Because 9 times out of 10, if you got one product, you probably got three or four.
Mm-hmm.
And, during our session, we were able to help individuals and entrepreneurs to see more than just one. Not only that, we were able to also kind of help now that we're through that process. We can kind of talk about some of the things that we shared. One of the things, and I want you to kind of talk more about this, is you help people to really centralize who they were as an individual, and that kind of coincided with what they were serving or what their product was, right? So for me, my point, my central focus or the nucleus of who I am when I walk in a room is clarity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So clarity of vision, clarity of what I'm doing, clarity of focus, clarity. Clarity is the central theme. So anything anybody's talking about on any level, any industry, I'm always going to go to the first thing. Let's get clear about where you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to put a plan in place, if you're going to move forward and have any kind of progressive, productive, success, you're going to need to be clear about what you're spending your time on. So if you're clear about what you're spending your time on, then we can put a plan in place. But if we got 15 things that we're focusing on, we got a problem. So first getting that clarity so there can be focus. So when you came into the room and you started to talk about, okay, when an individual when they see you, when they hear of you, when you're talking, when you're presenting, whatever you're doing, Who is that? What is that? What's that one word that describes you? What was the premise of that particular instruction or gaining, getting, infusing that into the room? Talk to us about that.
You know what I love about your word is clarity, right? So my word is
Mm-hmm.
purpose, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
with clarity. I'm going to ask the question why. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a circumference of a, a reason why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
the reason why that becomes your gifting, or you're operating in a certain space, right?
Right.
Typically all individuals are looking for something, they're searching for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know
Mm-hmm.
what they're searching for, right?
Right.
What I found out, people that are searching for something, they're searching for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in life they wasn't validated,
Right.
and somewhere in life they've been ridiculed about who they believe that they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when I came into the room and identified that one word that describes you, your destiny, or the path of whatever you want to do, is tied to that one word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how
Mm-hmm.
you see yourself. And if you
Mm-hmm.
get clear of how you see yourself and who you say that you are, you don't have to operate in the space of what somebody else says, because
Right.
everything
Right.
about you, when purpose come in the room, it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to dig to where to say, hey, what is the real purpose behind what you want to do? Like you said, what is the end game, right?
Right.
What does that
Right.
look like? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where that one word comes into play, and it's so important.
Absolutely. And identifying with that helps you to really gain the confidence, right? So we got what we
Hmm.
can do and we got what we're called and purpose to do. That's
Hmm.
important because when you have purpose, you have identity. So that
Hmm.
identity goes a long way because now I'm walking in a room, not just knowing my name, but I'm knowing the purpose for why I exist. And
Hmm.
normally that's something that's always bigger than you. So purpose is not, it's not about how you walk, but it's how you walk for others. Right? It's the
Hmm.
impact that you have on the lives of others. And so that's always a greater a greater endeavor than just your own individual purpose. And so, in other words, if Bridget doesn't show up and project clarity or help to other persons to get clear, then I'm impacting someone else's purpose because I'm not operating in my purpose. So
Right.
there's a whole lot that we have to consider with identifying with who we are because we also want to know how is it that how I identify impact other people because that goes in so that clarity and purpose when they collide is understanding your why, the reason for why you exist, what your purpose is. That's the intersection of where purpose and clarity collides, and then understanding what the clear vision is
Hmm.
for how you're going to get to manifestation.
So, Bridget,
Right?
I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question, Bridget. I want to go
Cool.
off for the person that's on this, listening to this, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're here. This conversation is new to them, and that one conversation, that one word that you said, strategy. You kept
Mm-hmm.
emphasizing that you need a strategy. Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain to that person, if they've never heard about strategies and how important it is, what do you
Yes.
mean by having a strategy, Bridget?
So let's I like to always give examples because sometimes it helps people rather than just giving a definition to help give an example for strategies.
Got it.
So everybody has something different, right? That they have
Hmm.
purpose in doing. So how you get to the manifestation of your purpose is your strategy. So for instance, if you have I'll use a couple of different things. If you have $100
Hmm.
and you got to make sure that you've got to get you got to get gas with that $100, you got to get groceries with that $100, and you got to pay say you got to pay another small bill with that $100. It may be a subscription. Well, you got to make sure that you have a strategy in place for how you're going to spend that $100. So that means you got to be disciplined and you got to be methodical with what it is that you purchase on your grocery list. So that means number one of your strategies is going to be writing down your three items that you're going to purchase. Within those three categories, what are the items that I can get that will coincide with this amount that I have delegated for this particular amount so I don't go over this $100 budget? if you go into trying to spend that $100 on gas, groceries, and your subscription, the potential is there that you will exceed that $100 if you don't have a strategy for how you're gonna spend it.
Mm.
So that's why pen to paper is important. That's why it's important to talk through what it is you need to do so that you can determine what's going to be your approach. Now, one person's list may require 3 items, another list may require 12 items. You still got to figure out what are those items. Do I need to be able to get a brand name? Can I get a brand name item, or can I get does it have to be a general, a great value type item? So either it's off brand or it's brand, because if I get all brand, I'm going to exceed the budget in that area. Right. Well, if I go to Exxon versus going to Costco, I'm probably going to spend more on my gas. Now, that's kind of a long way around, but strategy is the approach you're going to use to make sure that your plan is carried out. And everybody's strategy is going to be different. So what I do for my house, you may not do for yours. But at the end of the day, what's your plan for how you're going to get whatever it is that your goal is, how you're going to get to that goal? And so everybody needs to know what that is. And
So
so
that's
did that
so you
go
would
ahead.
say that's where clarity comes in,
Yep,
right?
because you got
Because
to be clear about what's your
yeah.
strategy going to be.
So you said, okay, you got options, but look, you only got $100, right?
You ain't got but a
so,
hundred. That's all
so
you got.
we need to put this pen to paper.
That's right. That's right.
Look
We
at the
got to figure
strategy.
out.
We only got but a hundred
That's
dollars.
right. That's
Now,
it.
at the end of this, we're gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
here's your options. Now you choose. You
That's
can
right.
spend this on one item or
That's
four to
right.
five.
Or fortified.
That makes
Absolutely.
sense. That makes
And I
sense.
think, helping people, and oftentimes, and I think we both use this strategy, giving people real live examples, because
Absolutely.
oftentimes we use words and terminology. We know what they are as coaches, we know
Yeah.
what they are as consultants, we know what they are as corporate leaders, project managers, whatever it is that you do or we do. But when we're talking to the everyday person, they need to understand in example form, what does it mean? What does it mean to have a budget? Right? So in that scenario, the budget was $100. That means this
Right.
all you got. It ain't 150. It ain't $100.50. It's $100. So that means within your strategy, you got to consider tax,
Yep.
huh?
Yep.
You got to consider the fact that that may take you over in one category. So with your groceries, that's going to consider tax. With your subscription, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be considered tax in there. So you got to look at, it's not just $10, it's $10.83 because you got to add your tax.
Or
So ramp,
that may be something different, Bridget, if you going to Target or you going to Walmart or you
yeah,
going to
you're right.
Aldi.
That's right. It depends on where you're shopping. And so here again, some of the stores like Brookshire's and some of them, they still send out these, flyers with the specials of the week program or whatever. But not
Right.
everybody does it. So you got to go online, or you got to, when you get to the store, you got to look at these brands. And while you're doing this list, you got to look at, you got 3 brands. So you got a brand that's 178. Say you getting relish. You got a brand that's 178, you got a brand that's 148, and you got a brand that's 98.
Right.
What you gonna do? So is it more important for you to get this name brand, or is it okay that you get this off brand to keep you on budget? That's the strategy. And so as time progresses, things will shift and change. Sometimes your budget will allow for you to be flexible, other times not. So when it's not flexible for your business, for your groceries or whatever, what's your plan? What's your strategy for making sure
Yep.
you get the job done, you know, and you're still able to go on and do the next thing that you have to do? So it's important that we have a strategy for our house. We have a strategy for our business, right? So, another example that I use, coach, is we have, we got all these streaming platforms, and I use it. That's an easy one because I just got through doing this. So certain streaming platforms have certain things that I want. So it's basketball season. I got to have the NBA app, right? So if I got the NBA app here, then I need what coincides with the NBA app. So I need TNT and I need ESPN. If the other part of the streaming gives me something I don't really need, then I'm gonna cancel it for the time being because I don't need that. I need what's gonna help me to keep up with the games and make sure
Right.
I'm on point with the basketball season. Now, when basketball season is over, guess what? I'm canceling those subscriptions because I'm no longer using them to the degree I was using them during the basketball season. I may have another subscription that has, news networks or whatever the case may be. But sometimes we just go and we do things and we don't have a strategy for how we're spending our money or how we're spending our time. And because we don't have a strategy, we have stuff all over the place. And then we get into a situation where we're either up on one side, down on the other, or vice versa. So it's always important that we're doing what I call the self work framework. And you're taking the opportunity to at least do one of those pieces. And that's self reflection on a regular basis, that you're looking at what you're doing so that you can determine what's going to be my approach for getting me through this piece, that piece, or the other.
So Clarity, I got a question for you. I want to go to another direction because I
Okay,
got you
purpose.
I got you on the call, Clarity. So it seems like Bridget, I mean Clarity, we in a season of a new buzzword that has came on in the atmosphere, and it's called what is your thoughts about this season of people using the word leveling up? What does that mean in this season? Why is there an urgency of people believe that they need to level up now?
Well, it depends on in what vernacular you're talking about. Because
Mm,
level up for some people means leveling up financially, right? Get
mm,
your game up so you can go to the next level, the next bracket financially. For some people, leveling up means leveling up your mindset. Because
mm,
if you're in this season and you have a fixed mindset and not a growth mindset, you're
yep,
gonna have a setback.
yep, you,
Because at the end of the
mm-hmm,
day, how we think about where we are with things constantly changing every day, something
yep,
is happening. Things are
yep,
changing. And if you're not liquid, if you're not fluid, if you're not open to change, I say this all the time. Three things that are going to always exist: challenges, change, and circumstance. You're going to
mm,
always have some challenges. You're going to always have things changing, and you're going to always have some circumstances. So you got to be prepared for that. You got to have a strategy of how you're going to deal with you. You got to have a you strategy. How
mm,
you how you're going to deal and how you're going to prepare yourself to deal with the things that are coming towards you, the things that you're in,
mm-hmm,
managing your business, the shift in your business, evolving in your business. How I started my business is not how I'm doing business now, and it's not how I'm going to be doing business by the end of this year.
mm,
Why? Because things are changing.
mm.
There's going to be different challenges. And if you get stuck in a zone where you're going to continue to try to do things the way you did them in 2020, it won't work.
Hmm. You know what? I find it so interesting because I'm in a season of where my language is changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm taking
Mm-hmm.
on I'm adding a new business model to what I already have, right? So my
Yep. Yep.
language is changing. And I was thinking about
Yep.
that before I got on the call. I said,
Mm-hmm.
someone was asking me, "Hey, you're not doing that?" I said, "Because I'm in a transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I
Mm-hmm.
speak from where I used to be, that's not where we're moving forward in the next 2 years." So you're
Absolutely.
absolutely right. And that what
Absolutely.
you said about that, I thought that was interesting, Clarity, when you said about that fixed mindset and the growth
Mm-hmm.
mindset.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
And so when we're fixed on
mm.
our thought process, we're
Wow.
fixed on the decisions we make, we're
Wow.
fixed on how we make those decisions, we're fixed on the time and seasons that we do things. And so sometimes
Hmm.
your strategy has to be to operate differently out of character or out of order. Sometimes the things you had planned to do in the fall, you may need to do in the spring.
But,
And you need to reverse your strategy sometime and be open for what's happening, because you don't even know unless you open yourself up to have a growth mindset to step in and really take a risk in a season you normally wouldn't. You'll never know if it will work or not, or how that will propel you forward.
yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be open to making decisions that are not popular.
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes you need to back away from things that you think are comfortable, because the more comfortable it gets, the more comfortable you get. And
Yep.
so when you're comfortable in a space, a situation, and you settle into that, settling in, when you settle in, then you already know, shake yourself. It's time. I need to think on a different level. I need to open myself up. Let me challenge myself to do something different. That This is when people have conniptions. When stuff change is changing, like we're experiencing change now, people begin to have conniptions that are used to fixed situations.
Mm.
This is a time you got to have a strategy for how you're gonna deal with the change, how you're gonna deal with the shift, how you're gonna prepare yourself. And so for a lot of us, I have a friend of mine, and if he comes across this, he gonna smile if he hear it. But you've got to be prepared for, and it's probably somewhere on one of my platforms, and I'm gonna have to find it and repost it. You are the economy.
You know what? Stop it.
You are economy. He
You
did
know
a
what?
session of we had a economy session in one of the pen to papers a few years back, and I believe it was in Las Vegas. But you are the economy. This is the thing that I want people to understand and realize. Whether you're making $2,000 or $200,000, at the end of the day, if you don't show up with the gift God gave you, they don't have the skill set. They don't have the gift. Things only work when people have the skills. One person will never be able to do everything. It takes a combination of skills, talents, and giftings. And when we realize that we don't go as far as our dream, we go as far as our team. It takes more than one person. It takes a team in corporations, in businesses. I don't care if that's B2B, if that's collaborations. It takes more than me.
You,
We is better than me. And
you,
so at the end of the day, until you realize that you are the economy, I don't care if you're getting laid off, people letting you go, whatever the case may be, fine, you still have a gifting and a skill that somebody needs. So are you going to harness that, and are you going to embrace that, and are you going to put that on display, package it, and serve it up, or are you going to whine about it? You can do one of the two, but one thing about it, the situation ain't gonna change.
you know, Clarity, before we got on this, I was looking up a word, right? Because see, when I said that my language is changing, I was
Uh-huh.
looking up a word, and guess what that word was?
What was that word?
Economy. Because
Uh,
my thoughts, my spirit has expanded, right?
mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm.
see it, and that's my word to people. You're gonna have to think like an economy. You're gonna have to
Yes.
be the were you looking for something? No, you're gonna have to be that.
Yes.
And and what the definition of it was. I was like, I said, okay, but hold on. And then I said, before I say that, and then you said the word, I said, oh, the like-minded.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. Being is better than doing.
Oh, you want to
So a
start some
lot of
mess
us,
today.
we so busy doing, we ain't being. So if you doing all the time, what's the gift that you're improving? What's the
Mm-hmm.
craft that you're, you know what I'm saying, that you're making better? So this is
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I want to encourage people to join us on March 29th, 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go to our page, go to the website, bridgetmoody.com/events, get registered. Listen, you can't beat it with a stick, but you need to have some clarity conversations. We're going to have
Mm-hmm.
the conversations just like this. We do open coaching. We coach it right there in the room. And I'm telling you, if you want to be helped, you can be helped. That's what the old
Mm.
folks used to say. We can help you because it's all about having that conversation. And so maybe nobody's challenged you to have the conversation. Maybe nobody's challenged you to get clarity for where you are and where you're trying to go. But this is the thing about it. We have to make sure that we have clarity in these areas. And so you want to approach it in a way that you understand that your skill is still needed. Somebody needs what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And because this person says, I no longer need it, we'll eliminate it, cool. uh B Street down here, they need what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
so what you want to do is harness that, embrace it, increase what it is that you're doing, hone in on that craft and make it better, curate it and do something different with it. It's just like one of the attendees from the conference came in. They gave, I think it was creative, if you remember, on the
Mm-hmm.
far end. So they
Yep.
started out with one particular item. Said, well, okay, I'm creating anything with my hands. What does that mean? We can go in a lot of different directions. When we got through, they had 5 categories and probably about 15 or 20 products because
Mm-hmm.
we only see the surface. So you got to dig deeper because what you need is on the inside of you. So while you're waiting on X, Y, and Z to tell you, okay, we'll hire you, we'll pay you this. You probably could have done made that plus some if you go on the inside and pull the you economy out of you, the economy out of you, because it's in you. This is the other proven point to that. When we decide that we are not the people, we are the people who makes the economy flow at the end of the day. If we don't spend our dollars, guess what? Stuff don't happen. And it's being proven. When we decide we're gonna come together and not do a thing, that's because the economy is in us. What we do, how we spend our money, the whole nine. So your skills, your talents, your abilities, at the end of the day, you need to look there and then determine a strategy for how you're going to embrace that, how you're going to put your product suite together, what that product suite looks like. If you don't know what that is, then you need to figure that out. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be you that's going to make the difference in where you go and how your circumstances change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good, Clarity. That's good. That's good. Now,
So
what date is this on? What date is we gonna have this
March
conversation?
29th, March 29th, and it's going to be at the Fairfield Inn Suites on Plano 4712 um, Plano Parkway, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. It is
Mhm.
only $47 for the event, 97 if you for elite. Now with the elite, two things we're doing. So with the elite, you get a 30-minute coaching session. You can schedule that to be in person or virtually. Then you get 14 days, I believe it's 14 days of email support. So that means if you got a project or something you're working on, you can shoot that over. We're going to put our eyes on it, give you some feedback on it, give you that support. And even if just for the $47, you still get some email support for 7 days after the event. We're going to follow up with you and see what you got going on. Because at the end of the day, you got to tap in. It's so I don't know. For me, I have a real affinity for helping people because I've gone to conferences and events and done coaching, and you get the high level coaching, and then you still got to figure out how do I put the I on the dot on the I and cross the T because nobody gives you a process or a strategy or
Right,
tools to
right,
help you walk out of there and say, hey, this is what I can do. When you walk out there
right.
and all you got to do is put the cap on it or take the cap off of it and let it roll, listen,
Yep,
you got something. And
yep,
so this is what we did in January. So people, every person that was a part of that event walked out of there with a plan of action. And the
yep.
only reason it doesn't work is because they didn't work it.
They didn't work it.
We got
That's
somebody
good.
in the chat said these words have been so profound. Absolutely. Listen, this is the whole point. Thank you so much for jumping in the chat. And listen, share this with anybody that you think it will benefit. Definitely share this link. And if they can't jump on now with us and ask their questions or provide their comments, they can definitely go back and watch the replay. We'll make this available once we're done. But this is why this is so important. We're coming together on March 29th. I'm telling you, it's going to be four of the most impactful hours that you'll probably ever spend. We'll be having conversations and coaching live in a way that you've probably not seen it before. Because most times we all get in this big room, people listen, they chunk out a lot of information, people walk out, you're all on cloud 12, but then come Monday, you don't have a plan,
Yep,
you don't have a strategy. So we
yep,
want to accelerate the vision that you have. And so, what does that look like? We're gonna put it on a board or we're gonna talk it out. You're gonna write it out because there's gonna be some pen to paper at the end of the day. Because if you don't get this stuff out of your head and put it on paper so you can get a strategy for it, that's what's going to cause you to be stagnant. So listen, we're gonna be diving in, and so now I know, Coach, you're gonna be bringing some strategy. You talked about time and season. Talk a little bit about that aspect of it because we're going to be talking about this next quarter. So let's talk about quarter two. Well, talk to us about quarter one and then how we're getting ready to transition into quarter two.
great, great, Claire. That's great. That's a great question. So we're coming out of the winter season, right? And so when
Mm-hmm.
you begin to start working seasons, really we're really working from seasons of last year. So we're getting ready to
Right,
spring forward, right?
right, right,
So
right, right,
so as you talk about new vision, new ideas, it's so important that you attend this event because this is the spring season where we're about to launch. And you want to make
right.
sure that you have clarity of strategy. right?
Mhm.
Because we're
Mhm.
moving forward. We're in a new regime. We want to change our mindset. If you're in a
Right.
fixed mindset, you want to move to a growth mindset. But we want to sit down and be able to, like you say, pen to paper. And what does that entail? Right?
Right.
How can
Right.
we monetize that, and what does that look like over the next 6 months, right? And,
Absolutely.
and for some
Absolutely.
people that may be at the event, it may be just mindset, right?
Right.
Just setting
Mhm.
your mind, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
to, to,
Absolutely.
to get in this atmosphere, because we're in an environment now where everybody is fed by 30-second shorts,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Right.
That's
Mhm.
not the real strategy.
A
30
piece of a
seconds
part.
short.
Yeah. Yep.
No, 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 no. You don't
Mhm.
even know the infrastructure behind
That's
that. You
right.
don't know the
Absolutely.
management team. You don't know the long-term vision. So it's so important that you attend this event and get some perspective
That's
on
right.
what your strategy is, gain clarity of it, right? So,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell you something about what I've learned about clarity, right? The more clearer you are, the quicker you can get there.
Yep.
Right. So let's
Yep.
just say when I began to when I changed my mindset years ago and stopped looking at six figures, but start playing with 7 and 8 figures, right? When
Mhm.
when you
Mhm.
shift your mind, you'll be surprised that realm is looking for you.
Mhm. Yeah. You
So
just thinking on another level changes the
yes,
trajectory.
it'll bring it to you. You'll hear that. You'll be sitting in Starbucks and somebody will talk about 7.5 million, right? And you'll be like, oh,
Mhm.
that's my number, right?
Mhm.
That person said
Mhm.
my number. So, but if you don't get clear, right?
Right.
Have some
Right.
clarity, right? You'll be
Mhm.
going into these, you'll keep circling the
That's
mountain.
right. That's right.
You'll keep circling the mountain. You'll be like, you'll look
Absolutely.
up and say, I done seen this before.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
it's so
Absolutely.
important as we go into this season, the spring season, because like I said, me being purpose, I work seasons. So it's
Mhm.
spring and harvest, seed time and harvest. I work that
That's right.
principle, right? So
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
know that anything can happen in any season, right? But as we know that this is spring, we know we can expect something in the harvest time because we put seed in the ground and
Yeah.
we had a strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So now we get there. We getting there. Now y'all might want to go on and hit your share button if you haven't hit your share button. And listen, definitely leave us some comments. If you got questions, we'll take your questions tonight too. So let's talk about this spring and forward. Right. So we
Mhm.
getting ready to go into another season. So you talked about so we start so let's just use the yard. We start putting these seeds in the yard so it can start cultivating, the rain can start falling on it. So what happens? Then the grass starts turning from brown to green, right? So it's a process though. Because if you
Yep.
didn't put them seeds in the ground, it's gonna take that grass a little longer to turn
Yep.
green.
Yep.
Huh? So it's the same way with our businesses. So
Yep.
when we spring forward, there are a few things that happen. Let's just talk about it practically because I want people that are on this live tonight to consider where you are, what your business is, what your goals are, and this just may be for your house. And if that's the
Yep.
case, that's cool because you need a strategy for your house too. You need a strategy
Right.
because ultimately it's for our life, not
Right.
just business, but it's for our life because it all works together. But let's think about this. So the days get longer.
Mm-hmm.
People start having aspirations for different things because you got more
Mm-hmm.
daylight, right?
And
So
look, and tax season. Look.
it
It's set up for a reason.
that's right. So you got tax season. You got so what products are you working with? What products are you introducing? One of
Mm-hmm.
the things, one of the projects I'm working on personally is overhauling my website. So
Mm-hmm.
when my new website is revealed, whole new look, but less is gonna be more, huh?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm shifting some things, I'm consolidating some things. It's all about what? Strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
when people come to the site, they don't have to look for certain things. It's going to be right there. I need this. I need that. I need that. It's going to be clear. And the other part of that is not just the strategy about the aesthetics of the site, but the content of the site.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
from when the site first went up and the adjustments that have been made along the way, I have a whole new perspective on what I'm offering and what I'm sharing.
Right.
Right. So therefore, when people come to my website, when I'm not, I'm asleep, right? They can get what they need. And so you need to think about your business, your whatever your goals are, your aspiration as inventory. So
Mhm.
that can be content inventory, that can be product inventory. But whatever that is, how does that look? How are you presenting that? Right? Because we're going into a different season. And so people are looking for different things based on the season. For me, I have an enterprise, so I have a couple of different things that I do.
Mhm.
So as we spring forward, there's a piece of my enterprise that I need to put forward because people are going to be looking for that. It's going to be spring break time in a minute. People going to be getting ready to go on trips because I don't care what's going on in the economy, baby. People are going to do what they want to do. You trust me when I tell you that.
Yep.
They're going to find the money. They're going to take the time to do the thing that they need to do. So you got to think about what's happening right now. What's going on in this season? What is it that I can provide? What are people looking for? What are the needs? Get on there, Google, use Chat GPT, use Gemini, figure out what are some of the things that people do when it comes to spring break, springing forward. What are the top 10 things
Yep.
that people, what are the behaviors during this season? All of that's important
Yep.
because you can capitalize based on what your vision is. I don't
Hmm.
care what that industry is. You can capitalize based on the time and the season.
So clarity. I want to share some so people don't miss this, right? Okay, we have
Okay,
spring,
purpose.
but I want to let them know
Mm-hmm.
right after spring comes summer, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
let you know what you sow will be tested by the heat.
Yep, absolutely. Both
it's
physically and spiritually
it's gonna be tested by the heat.
and metaphorically.
You gonna need to water it.
Yep. And you got to stay with it. And see, this is the
Yep.
other part is consistency. There
Yep.
has to be consistency.
Yep.
Consistency gains you what? Momentum.
Yep.
Momentum is not about how fast or how slow, but it's steady
No.
as the pace. And
No.
so this is where we fall off the wagon because if you don't have strategy, when you get to implementation and execution, you're going to have a problem.
Yep.
Because where you start may not be how you need to finish. You may get
Yep.
almost to the implementation date and you got to pivot. Where if
Mm-hmm.
you got a strategy, you'll know what kind of pivot you need to do.
Mm-hmm. And who you
But if
need to
you
put in place.
there you go. But if you don't have that, and I always say with vision, you need readers, you need runners, you need resources. Every
Mm-hmm.
vision needs a reader. You need somebody to put their eyes on that thing and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I can see this, it look good, or I'm a little fuzzy here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite clear
Mm-hmm.
on where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
you need runners, people that's just gonna take it and run with it and say, hey, she doing
Mm-hmm.
this over here, purpose doing this over here, clarity's doing
Mm-hmm.
this over here. You need to tap into this. Then you need resources because you
Mm-hmm.
got to get that out. Sometimes there's going to be financial resources. Sometimes
Yep.
that's going to be human resources.
Mm-hmm.
All of these areas are important, and you got to know who those people are. Your runner and your resource is going to be two different type of people.
Mm-hmm.
Your reader is going to be somebody that can digest the content that you're putting out and be able to, from an intelligentsia level, be able to give insight, right? And give you feedback that's going to be number one, constructive, right? And give you the appropriate feedback and or coaching that's going to help you to identify any gaps and improve upon what it is that your vision is um, projected to do. So all of these things are important for establishing the strategy for what you want to do.
But clarity. So
Mm-hmm.
on that reader, what would you say? What would you say to the person that want their friend to read this and give them a
No.
suggestion?
Mm, so it all depends on how good of a friend that is. Because if it's a friend that's going to cater and be sensitive to your feelings, they ain't gonna be the one.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, you want somebody that's going to be brutally honest with you.
mm-hmm,
Because oftentimes we want to hear what's going to make us feel good,
mm-hmm,
but feel good is not a strategy.
right.
You got to be realistic and you got to use practical approaches when it comes to allowing readers so there's got to be somebody that can be very constructive, that you trust, number one, to be honest, constructive criticism, good feedback. And if it ain't working, it ain't flowing, that they tell you this ain't working and I can't see it flowing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand the end result. I don't understand the vision here. Because when a vision is clear, it's not hard to communicate it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that
Right.
clarity is going to always be important. And if you're having problems and you're like, well, I want to do this, but then I want to do that. Trust me, it's all right to have multiple things, but you got to know what the priority is. That's where the clarity comes in. So, what is the lane that you drive in? It's just like you can drive, theoretically, you can drive in 5 lanes, but not all at the same time.
Right.
So, when do you put your signal on to change lane? Is that based on the season? Is that based on the time? Is that based on when you're expecting a harvest? You have to think about what's the priority. So if you do, that goes back to all the things you can do. Categorically, you have to think about what I can do versus what I'm called and purpose to do. If you go with the called and purpose, you're going to always be on point. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do the can do things, you're going to always run into a problem because you can do a little bit over here and you can do a little bit over here. But if you're not doing a can a little bit over here, can do a little bit over here, focus for the purpose always goes lacking. So
Clarity.
purpose doesn't get,
That's why they need to be in the room, don't they?
they got to
On
be in
March
the room
29th. You did
because
look.
we're gonna help them because and I'm telling you, it's a lot of people who have a multiplicity of gifts and they do a lot of things. But if you doing 20 things and all of them doing 20 cents, we got a problem.
Not 20 cents. Come on, you didn't have to use the word 20 cents.
Well, I'm just saying. Because it's almost equivalent to that because we're stretching ourselves so
Yep.
thin in
Yep.
all of these can do areas that we're not giving purpose its due. And we're not giving
Mm-hmm.
purpose that 95%. So purpose needs to have 95% of your time. The stuff you can do, 2-3% here and there.
Yep.
Because that's not the
Yep.
main thing. So we
Yep.
have to we have to focus on the main thing. What is the and that's where a lot of people have we're going to help them with this. Identifying what is your purpose? What's the thing that
Mm-hmm.
you should be focused on? Because that's where the focus goes is where the power flows.
Yep. Yep.
So when we don't have good clarity, we don't have good focus.
I was called upon. There was this organization that asked me.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of suggested, well, we need to review your strategic plan, and like, and so they had asked me about the strategic plan. I said, oh, absolutely. Let me send this over to you quickly. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they didn't know or didn't. I guess they didn't expect me to have a 2 year strategic plan, but that was
Uh-huh.
that's just letting people know where are you going, right? How can
Yep.
we help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What like you said, what resources do you need? So that
Absolutely.
strategic plan, you're so absolutely right, Clarity.
You got to
That
have it.
plan, that's what the resources are tied to. They want to know, do you
Absolutely.
have a strategy?
Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
so we want to help you focus in this area so that
Yep.
once you leave, you can take some time and do some private preparation so that you
Mm.
can have some good public presentation. And
Not
so
private
it's in
preparation.
private preparation.
Not
Because here's
private
the deal.
preparation.
You got to have it. Because if you don't have some private preparation, when you get ready to have public presentation, you're gonna have a situation.
Public, wait a minute, hold
So
on, say that
so
again, Clarity. Public what?
if you don't have private preparation, you won't have good public presentation, which is going to cause a situation. Now, at the end of the day, when you get in front of whoever it is that you're going to need to present to, you don't need to be getting ready. You need to already be ready. You need to be
Oh,
able to have, to your point, you need to already have something you've been working on, concentrating
yep,
on, focusing on, praying
yep,
on, that when a person asks you about what you do, you got to answer.
yep.
So that requires some private preparation. In
Mm,
my coaching and mentoring group right now, every person that's a part of that group is preparing a presentation. That's a
mm,
part of the personal development for this year.
mm-hmm,
And as they're going through that, they're getting what feedback, they're getting coaching, they're getting questions that's preparing them for their public presentation.
mm,
Now, When you get in public, you ain't doing this for the first time. You've gotten the
Mm-hmm.
feedback, you've had the opportunity to identify your gaps, you've had the opportunity to improve upon what you're presenting, and you can show up and be a professional presenter of what it is that you do
Mm-hmm.
without issue because you done this before.
And you have
You've
clarity.
already presented this and you clear about what you're doing. So here again, let's go back to it. I got clarity, so I got confidence. And because I
Mm-hmm.
got confidence, I'm going to communicate better. And because I'm communicating better, I can collaborate. I can get two, three people and tell them what I'm doing. And oh, okay, I can see that. Yeah, I collaborate with you.
So it ain't that you arrogant, you clear, right?
You clear. There's a
Mm.
difference.
Yeah,
Because
there's
you
a
got
difference.
some people
Explain
that's
that to us,
arrogant, but
Tab.
you got some people arrogant, but they ain't clear.
Ooh, say that one more time. What I didn't
You have
understand that.
some
What you?
people that are arrogant, but they're not clear. And you can tell they're not clear because they're arrogant.
I'm not doing this with you today, Clarity.
Uh-uh. This said Clarity is a poet tonight. She choking me. She said, I'm in the house on 329. Listen, it is absolutely important that you are in this space. I'm telling you, it's the best investment you can make for yourself. And this is what's so important. We will invest more on us than we will in us. And so if you can pay 47 for a pair of shoes, 47 for a dinner, certainly you can pay 47 to get strategy and help yourself have clarity
Mm-hmm.
for moving forward in 2025. If you're going to thrive, you need a strategy for thriving. How you going to thrive?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's strategy is going to be a little different, but we're going to talk to you about how you arrive at that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
want you to tell Lottie, Dottie, and everybody, go to bridgetmoody.com/events, get registered, grab your seat. Registration's been open. People are already grabbing their seats. So there's only so many people we can take live. Once that runs out, you have to be online. Now, I'm gonna tell you, it's different in the room than it is online. So if I was you and I could get in the room for 47, I wouldn't take that chance. I wouldn't take that chance. So when you close up and impersonal, it just
It's different.
it feels different. It's different. So if you have 4 hours that you can invest, I'd say don't sleep on it and tell somebody else. Bring a friend with you. Coach, I'm gonna give you the
Mm.
last words and we're gonna be out of here tonight.
You know what? I can't come behind that. You done hit 3 R's. You done hit 3 C's. I can't touch that. Look, only thing I can tell them is get in the room.
Get in the
Look,
room.
get in the room, cause look. At $47, come on
That's
now.
what I'm talking about. You can't
You
beat it
you
with a
finna
stick
get all of this.
for $47.
Come on now.
So here again, I'm telling you, ask the people that were in the room. They've been online, they've been talking about it, but
Yep.
this is what we want to pour in and pour out. And listen,
Yep.
it's the time and it's the season. If you ever needed a strategy, now's the time. There's
Yep.
so much going on in our country, in our world, but at the end of the day, the economy is in you.
Yep.
You have what you need. It's already in you. And you need to determine what's the strategy for you. And if you're a person that's in corporate and you're trying to start your business, you're trying to launch, there's a strategy that you need. And I call it a you strategy. You need to find out these are the arms that's going to hold you up. When are you available to do what it is that you're trying to do? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your responsibility for that? Right? Then you got to make sure there's some accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to have manageability, and that's going to help you to have some sustainability. When you have those areas, you can do whatever you want to do. Because if you determine what that strategy is, if that's 6 hours a week, 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week, you ain't trying to do 20 and you can't afford to give but eight.
Yep.
So it's all of these little things that matter when you're strategizing on what you're going to do. And it helps you to have a level of consistency, which equals to momentum. And that helps you to continue to do what it is that you're doing. And so we want to help people to identify with that purpose. And we want to also help them to get clarity on what the strategy is going to be for them to help them thrive and go forward and go to the next level in 2025 because it's doable, it's accomplishable. And
Yep.
I'm telling you, they can make progress with it and be productive.
Yep. Yep. You with that, I know just going back to that and your lifestyle have to line up to this,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Man.
Because
Hmm.
this ain't a one off. You can't
No,
do it for 30 days and then expect
no,
for it to work. So
no,
you got
no.
that's where that momentum comes in because it's got to be a consistent, steady pace,
And them
right?
seasons. And them
That's right.
seasons. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
Yep.
got to know how to work with it. Well, listen, thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. Will you share this? Will you do that? You ain't had to pay a dime for this tonight. We just thought we'd come on and give y'all some food for thought tonight and let you know, just give you a little bit of what's going to be happening in the room. It's probably going to be this times 10 because when Purpose get going, I'm telling y'all, he a little rowdy. When he get going, he's a little rowdy. Now, here again, Coach Coach Spence is going to be with the chamber, the Collin County Black Chamber, this Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yep.
Yes, this Wednesday, and from 11:30 to 1 p.m. There's an
Yep.
entrepreneur preparatory opportunity. So listen, you can jump in on that on this Wednesday. Talk to us about what you're going to be talking about on this
So
Wednesday, Coach. Before we go,
we'll we'll be talking about creating a crafting a winning value proposition. You know, the value proposition when you're pitching your business model, right? Depending on who you're talking to, that value
right?
proposition is the first thing that you have to come out with. So that's
Yeah,
what we're
yeah.
going to talk about, how to craft that, right? A
Gotcha,
winning
gotcha.
value proposition.
Absolutely. So you can go to the website. That's at ccblackchamber.org. All the information is there about the class. You can get registered. You still have time to get in the room. So you want to get registered for that as well and get a little taste of Coach Spence before the 29th. But then you want to go on over to bridgetmoody.com/events and you want to grab your seat for the Clarity Conversations live event. And that's the Vision Strategy Accelerator. And listen, we're going to accelerate on the 29th. I can't wait to see you in the room. Um, We'll be back here tomorrow night. Terrioni Espinosa is going to be with me, and we're going to be talking about this opportunity for business owners, Black business owners, minority business owners. There's a first Saturday pop-up market that she started to give business owners the opportunity to sell their products, increase their business, their clientele. Listen, it's a community opportunity. It's open to the public every first Saturday. So we're going to talk to her tomorrow night about that. Listen, we're trying to impact and have a strategy for you to be a better business owner and to grow your business in this season. So don't forget Tuesday Motivation and Conversation tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you then. Thank you, Coach Spence, for hanging out with me for a little bit. We we,
Thank you,
we let
Clarence.
clarity and purpose collide on tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll see y'all next time, same place, right here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. All right.